I never imagined that after all these years, after decades of living, learning, loving, losing, and surviving, I would find myself standing at a crossroads I thought belonged only to the young. Following my heart seemed like something easy, something natural, something that life would finally allow me without obstacles. And yet, here I am, with my heart whispering yes louder than ever, while the voices of those I love most, my family, echo with a resounding no. If you are here watching this, I need you to stay until the very end, because what I am about to share might touch something in you that you've been carrying silently. Perhaps you've been told your feelings don't matter anymore because of your age. Perhaps you've been judged for choosing happiness when others expected you to live only for them. Or maybe you're simply curious if love after 60 is even real, if it deserves the same place in the world as young love. My answer is yes, it is real, and it matters. But the path toward it is not as simple as we once dreamed. When I first felt the spark again, I couldn't believe it. I thought that chapter of my life had closed. I had been married, I had raised children, I had buried people I loved. I had accepted loneliness as a companion, quiet but predictable. Then suddenly, there was laughter again, conversation that flowed without effort, a gentle touch on my hand that sent a current through me, reminding me that I was alive, reminding me that my story wasn't over. I thought to myself, finally, I get to follow my heart without fear. But I was wrong. The day I introduced this new love to my family, I expected nervousness, of course. I expected questions. I even expected a bit of distance at first. What I did not expect was rejection so sharp it felt like betrayal. Their smiles faded into silence. Their questions turned into accusations. Are you serious? At your age? What will people think? And then the dagger that cut the deepest. What about us? Don't we matter? It was as if my happiness was a threat, as if choosing love meant abandoning them. I could see in their eyes the judgment, the disapproval, the wall building higher with each word. And in that moment, the joy I had carried so carefully, the fragile flame of something new and beautiful, was nearly extinguished by the storm of their resistance. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever dared to believe in happiness again, only to be told you shouldn't, that it was selfish, that it was wrong? If you have, then you know the pain I am describing. It's not just sadness, it's a tearing apart, because the people who should cheer for you are suddenly standing in your way. It makes you question yourself. It makes you wonder if maybe they're right, if maybe you don't deserve this second chance. And yet deep inside, the heart refuses to be silenced. That's the conflict I live with, and maybe you do too. A heart that says yes, and a family that says no. Stay with me here, because what we're uncovering isn't just my story. It's the story of so many who dared to love again and discovered that approval doesn't come easily. I want you to imagine with me for a moment. Imagine spending years in a house that feels too quiet, nights where you ache for conversation, mornings where the silence is louder than any alarm. Then one day, someone enters and fills that silence with warmth. How could you not want to hold on to that? How could you not want to follow the path where your heart finally feels at home again? But then comes the guilt, the words of your children, your siblings, your friends echoing in your mind. You're replacing someone. You're being irresponsible. You're forgetting what matters. It's as if love at 60, 70, or beyond is seen as foolishness instead of courage. And that's where the deepest wound forms. Because love, no matter the age, is not foolishness. Love is survival. Love is healing. Love is proof that you are still here, still alive, still worthy of joy. I know right now you might be nodding, maybe even with tears in your eyes, because you felt that sting of disapproval. Or maybe you're shaking your head, remembering the guilt that kept you from choosing love when you had the chance. Either way, I want you to hear me clearly. Your heart matters, It matters more than the whispers of judgment, more than the raised eyebrows, more than the disappointment in the voices of those around you. Because at the end of this life, the regret of not following your heart will weigh heavier than the disapproval of others. Now, let me pause and ask you, have you ever been told you're too old to love again? Have you ever been made to feel embarrassed for wanting companionship, intimacy, joy? If so, I want you to comment below. Share your story, because your voice deserves to be heard. Your experience might give someone else the courage to believe that love is possible again.
I remember lying awake the night after that family confrontation. My heart felt torn in two. On one side, the warmth of this newfound love, someone who saw me, who cherished me, who made me laugh again. On the other, the cold silence of my children, their disappointment, their sense of betrayal. I asked myself again and again, why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't they see that loving again doesn't erase the past, it honors it? But in that moment, the pain was heavier than the hope. I cried quietly, afraid that if I spoke it out loud, the dream would crumble completely. This is the reality we don't often talk about. We assume love is always met with celebration, especially when someone has endured so much and finally finds joy again. But often, especially later in life, it comes with battles we didn't anticipate. Battles not against society at large, but against the very people closest to us. And those battles cut the deepest. If you are feeling that conflict right now, I need you to stay with me. Don't click away, don't give up, because what we are exploring here is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. Yes, there is pain, there is rejection, there is misunderstanding, but there is also a path forward, a way to carry your heart without abandoning your family, a way to live your truth without drowning in guilt. And we will walk that path together. But first, we must sit with the pain. We must acknowledge it, name it, feel it, because only by honoring the hurt can we begin to heal. So let me tell you this clearly. It hurts because it matters. It hurts because your family matters, your love matters, your heart matters. And when those collide, the fracture feels unbearable. Yet the fact that it hurts means you are alive. You are loving. You are brave enough to face what many would rather bury. That is not weakness. That is strength. I know some of you right now are whispering to yourselves, but what if I lose them? What if loving again means losing my family forever? And to that fear, I say it is real and it is heavy. But love that is true will never ask you to choose permanently. Love that is true will wait for bridges to be built. And family, though resistant, can learn, can soften, can understand. But it takes time. In this first part, we hold the weight of the problem, the ache of rejection, the silence that follows the storm. And in the next part, we will begin to understand why families react this way, why the ones who should celebrate sometimes resist, and what lies beneath their no from those we love. Before you go, let me remind you, if this touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear these words. Subscribe, stay with me, because this is only part one of the journey. We are not finished. The story doesn't end in pain. The story moves forward toward understanding and eventually toward peace. But we can't skip ahead. We must walk through it together. So don't miss part two, where we uncover the reasons behind the resistance, where we pull back the curtain on the fears and insecurities that fuel the no from those we love. And from there, we will move toward solutions. For now, sit with me in this truth. Your heart said yes, and their voices said no. That is where we begin.